Perfect. Yay. So Natalie and Beth both go into the drawing for the Target gift card this month when you have 300 wholesale or more in sales for the week, or you have 3 or more shares for the week, you get entries, and then they both get a double entry because they were the queens. So way to go, you guys. So proud of you. Yay. Okay, I think that was all that I have for recognition.
Yay. Awesome. Well, I'm on for training then. I'm super excited. So what we thought would be helpful for training tonight would be to train on STAR. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to hear all of the recognition for all of you who are already stars. That is a huge, big deal. We know that the first quarter is the most important in a way, because you have to hit the first to be on target to be a star all year to get your beautiful designer handbag. And so I want to just give some ideas on STAR. I just want this to be blessing for everybody. So if you are already a star, I want you to know that the quarter is not over. And I want you to set a bigger goal and to dream a bigger dream and to look at those top prizes. So even if you are a pearl, did you know there's different levels of pearl? So there's actually like a really high pearl that's really amazing prizes, or you can be selecting tons and tons of smaller prizes. And so no matter where you're at, whether you're already a star, you're a higher star, or even if you have like $0 in towards the star quarter right now, I want you to know that this message is for you and that you can have amazing sales in this last 4 weeks before we end the first quarter. So when I was kind of thinking about this and kind of trying to decide which direction I really wanted to take this, I'm going to give you some belief, and I'm also going to give you some ideas. So I was trying to kind of to really think about a time when I sold a lot of products in a small amount of time. And the first time that I sold a lot of products was the first time that I did quota sales. And quota sales was not really cool for me. But at January of that year, I needed a new goal, and I felt like I needed a new win, but I was nowhere at all on target, like not even close, like no one else would probably believe it. But for me, I just like made that decision, and I made the decision that selling is something that you are in control of. Like you are in control of doing what it takes to sell products, because what it is it's being in motion and it's working your business. And it's the first part of our business is selling the product, and women do love our product. So when I made that decision in January, I got closer. I got closer, and then still with May and June to go, I still needed to sell $4,000 in both May and June, which was like horrible. Like I wanted to throw up over that. That was way more than I had ever done ever. And so what I did, and I want this to be helpful for you if you feel like star is so far away, or if you feel like that higher star is, unattainable. What I want you to do is first do something that's going to make you feel like you're in the pursuit, that you can, that you are making progress. So the first important thing that you need to know is you do need to know your number. So you need to know what it is that you need to sell. Like you need a retail number that you need in the next 4 weeks. And then what I want you to kind of look at that with is what, like the total number, not just the wholesale number for star, if that makes sense. So if you had $0 in and you knew that you wanted to profit the full 50%, then you would know that you need to sell 3,600 so that you'd be profiting 1,800 for your family by September 15th, and also placing an $1,800 order. But I also want you to be kind of mindful of course, you might have some in, so you need to know what you have on the scoreboard. And you also might be choosing that you're going to reinvest them for new products and that sort of thing. So you just want to like have that concrete number where it's not waving in your mind, but you know for sure like what it is that you need to know, what you need to sell, where it is that you are. And so the other thing that really helps with this is to really break it down. So when I looked at my numbers at that time and knew that I needed to sell 4,000 in May and June, that like number would have paralyzed me. And so instead I had weekly goals, and I also had daily goals. So you might have to like way bring it back and like maybe even just take that number and then look at this week and be like, okay, what am I going to do? What progress am I going to make towards that number this week? So that next week the number's smaller, and I'll look at next week. The other thing that I did that really helped me was I had the big number, And every time that I sold something, I subtracted it. And that really helped me mentally because even if I sold an eyeshadow, it was like that number got smaller by $8, but it's progress. And it was like a mental thing that every single time that I sold something, I could see the number getting smaller. And it was the evidence that I needed to give myself that belief. So it's okay to do those sorts of things and to really focus around that. Okay, so the first idea, the first idea to get you closer, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, Rebecca, duh. But it's to be in front of people. Okay. So what I want you to really think about and really kind of have a plan for is how many people can you be in front of still in August? Because the focus is, and this is the focus that I had when I was finishing that first time, was how much can I ramp up my customer base before we get really close to the end? So you could be ramping up your customer base still in August, being in front of tons of new people, having new customers. And then in September, right when the quarter is getting closer to ending towards the 15th, they have wish lists. They're excited. They might now want more things. They know you. They're more open to helping you with your goal. They'll order again because you have a goal. So you want to ramp up that customer base right now, so you have more people to work with as you need to get closer to that number. And also, you always sell the most. You really do. You always sell the most when you're closest to the product. So even though you can build up a great customer base and you can have great, we can have great reorders and we can have promotions, it's always so much more powerful to have those new appointments, those new parties where people are so excited. And that's when they're ordering like hundreds of dollars on the spot because it's a new person, a new excitement with that. So first, thinking about your activity and the amount of people that you need to be in front of, I think the easiest thing to do would be to break it down for, again, August. I think that's going to make it easier than looking because otherwise it can sometimes feel like you have a lot of time and you kind of try to catch up. So instead, just look at these next 2 weeks of August and really make a plan for how many parties, virtual parties, guests on Tuesday night, whatever it is, whatever kind of appointments that you're doing, how many are you able to do? How many are you willing to do? And really plan that out for yourself so that you have that focus and that goal. And then you could also break it down. So let's say that based on what you need for your STAR goal, when you look at that and then you break it down for August, let's just say that your goal for August would be to sell $1,000. Like in the next 2 weeks, you want to sell $1,000 to make an impact towards your STAR. So then if you were going to break it down for activity, let's say that your 2 modes of activity that you are doing right now is you are committed to having guests on at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, and you're committed to booking some virtual parties. So maybe you're going to start doing like what we talked about 2 weeks ago when Karen shared her virtual party idea. Maybe that's what you're going to run with, is having a Facebook virtual party. Okay, so then what would be easiest from there is to kind of figure out some averages. And depending on how long you've been in you might not really know your averages yet. And so it's easier to kind of lowball the average and then be surprised than to realize that you didn't have enough activity. So let's just say that you decided that your virtual party could be $100 in sales, which is really low. When you do this awesome new format that Karen's been on, like it's amazing and it's super successful. But let's just lowball it and let's just say it was $100. That's what your average is going to be for those. And then let's do an average for guests on Tuesday night. That the average guest on Tuesday night is $50. And I'm just using that number because we're now doing our new closing where they get a 50% off item when they buy $50. So we're just going to assume everyone's going to buy $50 if they're on Tuesday night, and if you book a party that you're going to sell $100 in that party. Okay, so that is probably very low, and you're going to be excited to have higher numbers than that, but that's a good thing because that's just going to make you get done faster. Okay, so based on that, you have your $1,000 goal for August. Those are the 2 things that you're doing. Those are it. Let's just say that's it. Then you could break it down that it would be like 6 parties and 8 guests. And we have 2 Tuesdays left, so you could focus that you're still going to have 4 guests on tonight, which is completely doable. We know we always get the last minute guests at the last minute, and 4 guests next week or whatever. And then the awesome thing, just another plug for these virtual parties that Karen had trained about, what I love about them is you really do all the work kind of on like on the before it happens, if that makes sense. Like you're putting all of the information in, and then the party just rolls. And so it really doesn't take a ton of time, and you could be setting those parties up, you know, in your downtime. So if your downtime is like late at night, that's okay. Like you could be putting all the information in and scheduling all those posts or over a lunch breaker times, and maybe it wouldn't be necessary time that you would actually be able to do a Mary Kay party. Now, because of virtual, you have that opportunity that you could be like really flexible when you're setting it up. So you really could have easily 6 parties going on before the end of August and have all those new customers and all those new people buying product, which is super exciting. Okay, so that's the second step. The second step is to figure out like how many you need to do, what it's going to look like. Maybe you're meeting with some people in person now. Maybe you're doing some Zoom sample packs with referrals. Maybe you're doing the Miss America thing that Erica talked about, the Miss Mary Kay, that awesome idea. Maybe you have lots of new referrals that you're working with for that. So it can be however you're working your business, but you want to know like how many am I doing and what are my averages? So how do I like figure that out? And what's it going to look like just in August to hit my first goal of sales to get closer to start? Okay, so then the third thing is to book them. And what I just wanted to talk about with booking, I just wanted to remind you, because I think sometimes we need to be reminded because we are in a totally different time, and it's an interesting time, but we need to remind ourselves of the blessings that are coming from this interesting time. And that is that we have access to way more people than we normally do because we're doing things virtually, because we're doing fun Zooms, because we're doing Facebook parties. Like the people are, they're limitless. And so we talked last week about, you know, new ways for new leads, but I also believe that there's lots of people who we haven't asked, who we already know, like people who are in your circle, you know, family and friends and past coworkers and all of those sorts of people. And so when you're thinking about, after you make your plans for how many bookings that you need to have in August, the third thing that I really encourage you to do is to go back and like recreate that contact list. Like recreate the people that you know and the people that you haven't asked, and maybe you're on your chicken list, but to really brainstorm those people and think like, you know, I know this person, and then to this person, I know this person, like go deeper. There's really a web of people that we know. And I feel like we often just brush the surface and we're not digging deeper. And women are so craving, they're so craving social time. They are so craving self-care time. I really believe and have noticed truly that women are spending more money right now on skincare than they used to, because it's like they're realizing how interesting the times are too. And it's something that makes them feel good. And so don't forget that. Don't forget that importance and that blessing that's coming from it. So make that contact list, and then you can go back and contact them. So again, I know that everyone's doing different things. I do have some scripts on doing the Facebook party, but I'll probably, well, I'll just say, I'll you can put it in the chat, or I can share it too. But I know that you're not necessarily doing this sort of party. But for those people that are doing the Facebook party, just reaching out to them and letting them know. First of all, just a reminder that when you send a script out, you never want it to feel super scripted, and you want it to be like a personal connection with them. And so I think especially right now, and because you're making that contact list and you're going deeper in with those people, some of those people you might not have talked to in a while or like really talked to or whatever. And so you don't want to ever just reach out to someone and it's just like you're putting this thing out to them that you want them to do for you. First, you want it to be very conversational and like checking in with them. I think right now we can never underestimate the power of checking in with people and just seeing how they're doing and like seeing how their family is doing and like how they're, you know, because it's just caused different things for different people. And so reaching out with a message with that, and then letting them know that you thought of them. And for the Facebook party, what I have been doing is letting people know that we're doing a new virtual concept where we're able to show our innovative skincare lines virtually, which has been so fun. And I was wondering if they would be excited to be one of the first to try it out. And then I also always like to say a reason why I thought of that person. So if you're reaching out to like a customer, you could say, I thought of you because you can get so much product for free. And I know that you had a really long lifespan. Or I thought of you because I know that there were a couple more things that you wanted to try. Or I thought of you because I know that we never were able to get together because you don't live close to me, but you've always been cheering me on for my business. And this would be a really fun way for you to see some of the fun stuff that we have. Like a reason why it's them that you're asking. and then closing it out with a question. It's always so good when you're important that when you're booking people, that the last thing that you say is a question. So then you could just end it with, do you want me to send you the information, or can I send you the details? So it leaves it at a question. So you're going to go back to that contact list, and you're going to be able to book all those people. Another idea that I had, this is actually a new idea. Most of these are repeat things that you guys know, but just wanting to remind you on. But one fun thing that I kind of just came to me was that as you're booking people for the virtual Facebook parties, I think Facebook parties are very easy to host, and everyone should be excited to do that, and they're getting free products. But there's still those reasons that people maybe say no, and of course we can overcome the objections. But another fun thing that I have noticed that other companies do is they will do one big party where it's like a mystery hostess. So if you reach out to someone to be a hostess for one of these Facebook parties, and then for some reason they're like, I feel like I don't know enough people to invite, or whatever, they give you their reason, then your next step would be, no problem, I totally understand. If you are still excited about seeing these products, I'm actually doing a party where it's a mystery hostess. So you get to be part of it, you get to see everything, and then at the end, someone will be drawn to be the hostess to earn all these awards. Would that work better for you? So that would be kind of a fun way to catch those people, still get them in there. They're still seeing all the same stuff, and they can still end up inviting a couple of their friends or whatever to get extra points to the party. But it's kind of a next layer if they're unwilling to do that. And then of course, there's other things you can be booking for them for, like the guest events on Tuesday night and those sorts of things as well. I also really like the guest events now that we're doing more kind of topics. I like personally selecting people based on a topic. So I had just met someone last week who went on and on about her pores. And I mentioned some stuff with the pores, what we did in normal appointment, but then I was able to reach out to her and be like, I know that you mentioned that that's your biggest concern. I'm actually teaching on that tonight. Would you like to be invited? So that can also be an additional layer. That's what I like Tuesdays for, but it can also be new business, new first time getting in front of people also. But I think it's really helpful when you give people a reason why, and they want to know what's in it for them. And so the more that we can really think about this person and how will it most benefit them, the more likely that they're going to see the importance of it, and more likely that you're going to have a yes. Okay, so after you've had your bulk 2 weeks of August, you're going to have a ton of activity, you're going to have new business, then you're going to be building up your customer base, and probably you're going to be closer to your STAR goal than you even thought based on your math, because you're going to surprise yourself and you're going to have bigger sales than you even expected. But then going into September, of course, you can continue to still have that focus of new business, and then just look at the first 2 weeks of September, and you can do exactly the same thing, where you map out what you want to sell, what your focus is, how many people you need to be in front of, how many different types of appointments that need to look like, etc. But you also then have more people to work with if you want to do some fun promotional STAR ideas. And we always post STAR ideas. There's so many different ideas out there, but just a couple of ideas as your customer base swells, and if you want to kind of dive into your customer base as you get close, within the last couple of days of STAR and want to run with some ideas, these are some ideas that I really like. So the first idea is I always really like to get wish lists from people. So when you're in front of them and they buy products, to still write down the things that they have on a wish list that they didn't have the opportunity to buy, and also to know who it is that buys for them. So you could be reaching out, for customers in August or September and it's their birthday. You could be reaching out to their daughters or their husbands or whatever, who might be looking for gift ideas, because you know those things about them. So you can be reaching out, or maybe it's their anniversary, or maybe you're going to start pre-selling already holiday, because people plan ahead. And you know what your people want. And so you can be reaching out to their people on that. So I love working with wish lists. I also love working with bundles. And so as you get closer to the end of the STAR quarter and you have a final number, you can divide it by how many bundles of something you need to sell. So some of the bundles that work really well are selling charcoal masks. And then I like to bundle the mask applicator with the charcoal mask. And then because it's like a sales goal, because it's a focus on that bundle, I give them, if they buy the charcoal mask, I'll do the applicator half price. So that's what's in it for them. But what's also in it for them is they're helping me with my goal of how many of these charcoal masks I need to sell. So you could, based on how much you need to sell, you can divide it by those charcoal masks and dive back into those people who are, maybe new in your customer base, and it's an additional thing that they could buy. Another bundle that I like to do is mascaras with makeup remover. And like if they buy 2 mascaras, since we have so many different mascaras, a lot of women like to try more than one, or they like to have a backup mascara. So if they buy 2 mascaras, they can get the eye makeup remover half price. So same thing, you could have it figured out of how many of those bundles that you need to sell. And then another thing that I like to do for last minute star is gift certificates. And gift certificates is usually something that I usually would do at the very end, or I would teach people to do at the very end, like, the last couple days when it might be harder to get in front of people super last minute, but you just have a little bit more that you need to do. You can still gift certificates. And what has worked really well for me is to sell gift certificates to my customers. It's a $125 gift certificate for $100. So they're getting that, extra value to use later. Like you can say that it's used next month, or to use for the holidays, or to use whatever. But to focus on those as a quick last minute sale. So I feel like the bundles, I feel like the wish list, I feel like the gift certificates, all of those things are kind of like tools for your toolbox to hold onto, because I really do believe what's going to make the biggest difference and give you the biggest jump. And be realizing the next levels that you can be at with Star is first to be in front of those people. So my main message is to figure out that number and to figure out how much activity that requires of you. And again, to remember that the great thing about virtual is that it doesn't take as much time, and we can have several parties running, we can have tons of new orders coming in, and it was taking you way less time. You're like multitasking because you're having more than one party even going on at the same time, and you're going to have new customers. And then to just think about that compound effect of all of those new customers in just a small amount of time, then you can continue to do that. And you just think where you'll be, in the next Star quarter, in the third Star quarter, like you're going to be hitting Star way before you ever even have to think about it. And you're always going to be looking at a bigger level, which is in a super exciting place to be. So much less stress to know that Star just happened and that your customer base is helping you to get there, because you have those reorders, and it's that compound effect from them continuing to bless you. So what you do in these 2 weeks and what you do in the final 4 weeks of the Star quarter, don't forget that it's going to keep on blessing you, and it's going to continue to make a difference for your business. So that's what I have for ideas on Star. Any questions? I wasn't really looking at this topic. Questions? I'll open the topic. Anyone wants to unmute and ask a question? So the second idea, Susan, how I had it broken down was the first was to know your number, and the second was to focus into faces or appointments. So knowing how many appointments you're going to hold still in August to help you get closer to that number. So kind of having a big number and then a number of what you're going to reach for still the month of August. Yay. Okay. Any questions? No? Good?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to tell you thank you, because that's just a lot of information, and I'm so excited that this is recorded so I can go back and like watch it again and like take better notes, because like just so much great tips, especially about like, yeah, women always do have backup with makeup, or like especially like mascara. I know I definitely do. So it's if they can get a deal, bundling and buying too. So just a lot of great tips to add to what I'm already doing.
Yay. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Never underestimate what women will buy. And I really do believe that women are buying for you. Like it's from all of our couple appointments in the last 6 since July, I was kind of tracking averages, and my per face average really has gone up. And I think women, you know, there's people who have lost their jobs and things like that. But if women are still good, like maybe they're working from home, it's a hard time, but like they're still doing okay financially. I think in a lot of cases, women are actually saving money right now because a lot of things that they were spending money on got canceled. So, you know, people weren't taking like the vacations and the things that they would normally do in the summer. And so what like the comment that I keep getting from people is like, oh, I haven't like treated myself on anything in a long time. I want to treat myself. I also feel like people aren't buying like new clothes as much because they are working from home, all those sorts of things. And so they have the budget for it. So get excited about that. And if you believe in that, you're gonna just see that happening more and more. And you're gonna have that for sure.
Yeah, totally. One of the biggest things that I've heard people say is that they're saving a lot of money on gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, with gasoline and stuff, you know, they're not driving back and forth, so they've got the extra money in the budget to
Absolutely.
splurge on themselves.
Yes, exactly. So true. That's awesome. Yay.
Yay. So we can definitely continue with questions, but I just didn't want to forget to give a shout out to Leora because I didn't realize that her camera isn't working on our tablet. And so she actually had $575 in sales this last week. So way to go, Leora. And she said it was almost $615 for last week. And so I think we missed her last week because we didn't see her doing her sparklers without her camera. So Leora, do you have any tips you want to share while you're on with us?
Basically it's just holding yourself accountable, being consistent, and like you guys say, a track number grows. I went and, you know, took the time and printed out my tracking sheets, and my husband is kind of laughing at me because I have the motivation like taped up and plastered to the walls everywhere. And just staying with it because I have a dream and I have a goal, and just having it in your face, visualizing it and doing it, just, you know, keeping with it and keeping consistent is like the biggest thing, and keeping yourself accountable. So
Yes, that makes a big difference. I love it.
Yep.
We're so proud of you.
Thanks.
Yay. So any last questions, you guys, before we jump off? Yeah, Beth.
One thing that I have been doing too is I always like to wish my friends on Facebook happy birthday. And so I'm starting to ask them if I could send them a pamper pack for their birthday, just as a little something, and making sure obviously that they're not, you know, with another consultant. But that's one thing that I'm just starting to do. And I thought that would be kind of a fun way to try to meet the people as well.
Yes, that is brilliant. So brilliant. I started putting together little, I took the spa hour, social distance spa hour invite things that are on Girl Boss that I like taught on way back when, and I've been putting them in little baggies and write a little note that just says like, I'm really trying to spread some joy right now. And so if, this could bless you, I'd love to schedule a virtual session. This is all the stuff you get for free with it. So I actually, and before I used to put together little baggies with maybe a sample or goodies in it, and I would hand them out when I was out and about to like the girl at the bank or whatever. And so I had done that in a while since we've been home. And so I'm like, I'm going to put it together. And if I'm out and about going through a drive-through or something, I'm handing them out. But then I've had a bunch of people come by to pick stuff up because I've been just selling some stuff on Facebook. Like now that we've moved and we've kind of gone through, you know, all of our stuff, I have all these things and I'm like, okay, don't know where I'm putting this. I don't need it. We just need to get rid of it. And so I've been just like including the little like baggie, and I have like a little sticker on it that says like a gift for you. And I just include it in whatever it is that I give them, whatever they bought. And so I've had people message me right afterwards like, oh, this is so cool, I want to do it, and like set up a time. So I don't actually give them the samples or anything. Like in the baggie it just says, if this would bless you, let me know and I'll put one in the mail for you and we'll schedule a session. So I love the birthday idea. Like that's brilliant. Yay, you guys, so exciting.
One last thing I wanted to say, yeah, Rebecca, thank you so much. I took lots of notes. And the thing that I love is, like Erica said, it's like a blueprint for success in STAR. And where my brain went was put a reminder in like your calendar so it comes up and you're like tracking your goal. So maybe your benchmark is to sell $400 this week. So you have something that comes up next Monday that says, hey, reminder, your goal was 400. Where are you? Or like every few days, you know what I mean? And you could even put in your calendar, like the first part of August, think about bundles or reach out and talk about wish lists. Like those little cues that you can remind yourself on, because I feel like even though we are home for the most part, there's still a lot of things going on. And so if we can have those little notes that ping on our phone, it'll remind us to do that. So thank you, friend. That was great.
Yes. Great ideas.
Susan, do you have something?
Yeah, I just started thinking of something, and it might be, kind of afraid to ask this question because I think I know what you guys might say, but I'm going to ask it anyhow. But I do a lot of the pampering packs, but do you think that you get more sales through the pampering packs or through like the virtual on Tuesday and the Facebook parties instead? Does that make any sense? Like, where do you think you get the most sales at? Or does it just depend on the person?
Is there anyone that's a variety of them that can kind of give us like your thoughts on what you feel like has worked the best for you?
On the kits?
Like, I think she's asking, like, if you did, like, are you having more success by mailing out paper packs or not doing the paper pack part, just doing, like, the Tuesday night lives?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but yeah. So I changed I was calling them goodie bags, but then I had a Google form that people were filling out, so I could customize their goodie bag. But then I felt like goodie bag is kind of ambiguous. And so I changed it to facial kits, like virtual facial kits. And the other thing that I changed, there's a lot, when it's my turn to train, I can train on this, but I started following up a lot more in advance. So like before I even mailed out their kit, I would text them and I would say, hey girl, just wanted to let you know I got your form. I'll be dropping your facial kit in the mail tomorrow. Just wanted to say hi. Fun putting it together for you. And then I would text, this is where I got smart, was then I would text them again in maybe 4 days. And I would say, hey, Susan, just trying to figure out about how long the mail is or where you live. Let me know if you've seen it in your mailbox yet. And so then they were like, nope, not yet, but I'll, and then it seemed like they were more antsy to tell me it was there. And so that really helped. And then the other thing that I've changed, which everybody does their own thing. But the other thing that I changed, just because I have so many kits going out, is, and I was having a hard time catching people, you know what I mean? To like, let me do your kits with you. But also I didn't want to do 700 kits all at the same time. So I just said, let me know when you have like 10 minutes and I'll walk you through how to use your kit. And that's been really easy. And then I like take notes when I talk to them. Like I did a lady last night in Florida who has a pig named Barney and 2 dogs. And, by the time you're done, you know everything about them. And so then I walked her through how to do her kit. And then I said, do you think you're going to do this tonight? Or what, just so I kind of have my eye on it. And I said, okay, if you do it tonight, then, how about we touch base on Thursday? That'll be our goal. And that way I can get your feedback and what you're paying it. I was like, I don't care if you buy anything or not. But what you're paying attention to is like what your favorite things are, any smells, textures, things like that. And then if you do end up wanting to purchase anything, if there's something you fall in love with, I'm giving you as a virtual tester as a thank you 10% off, anything that you choose to purchase, and then free shipping as a thank you. And so then like I had a gal named Jennifer Well, she did it 2 days ago. And I also made a virtual, not that I don't want to make things complicated. So you can just go la, 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 la. But for the people I wasn't catching, there were some people who were doing it, but I wasn't catching them in the follow-up. Like they, for what, sometimes you just can't catch people. And so then I made a virtual follow-up form. It's just a Google form. And so then I was texting people the Google form. Because on there it asks if they, basically I said, how I made it really fun. And it's like, I asked if they want to do a shake up their makeup, what their favorite things were, feedback. And then I put all the sets on there, they can click a button, and I did all the images of everything that I put in their kit so they can click any images they want to purchase. And then at the end, it was like, want to hang out with this girl who used to work at the zoo who looks like this now? Or I said something funny. And so then I attached my marketing video, or they have to say yes or no. And so then if they say, yeah, that sounds fun, I'd love to hear what she has to say, well, then I'll send them my marketing video. And then I have I just made I made 3 Google forms because I just felt like again, you don't let that stop your progress. But I just kind of, truth be told, I was being wimpy about doing the marketing plan, sometimes. And so I just was like, well, if I just make it fun, and then they're like, yeah, that sounds cool. And then it was like their choice. And then if I still liked them and I was being a chicken, well, then I could ask them if they said no, but it was an easy yes. So, and I've sold way more with, however, I'm having way more, like that's where my time is going into, is those, like that's where I'm investing my time, is those kits. If I was investing the same amount of time into Tuesday nights, like I might have 1 or 2 people on a Tuesday night, but I feel like I'm hijacking this whole thing. It depends on who they are, right? Because like right now, these are people that I don't know. The referral, they're like, I'm doing the road trip, like Erica was talking about the Miss America thing. And so these are people, like my goal is to have 5 virtual testers in every state. Well, if I do that, that's 250 people by the time I'm done. And so it would be weird for me to invite these people into a Tuesday night. I don't know them yet. You know what I mean? But what Rebecca said is exactly right. I mean, once I get to know them and I know what their profile's like, well, I could be like, hey, I know you really liked that microderm that we were talking about, and I thought of you. And so then when you know specifics, you're plugging people in and you're growing that relationship. I mean, I think to invite someone into a Tuesday night as a personal guest, you would have to know them first. And even if I had them on a Tuesday, the after effect would be, I would want to send them a facial kit. Like, thank you so much for being on. It was so cool having you there. Is there any reason as a thank you, I couldn't drop a facial kit in the mail for you and have you as one of my virtual testers? So it's like, what is always the next step? Like, where does it make sense for me to engage with them? And then once I engage with them, what is always the next step?
I think that's so smart too, to just know. It's kind of like when Erica talked about the funnel and putting people into the funnel, there's always a next step. Whether that person decides to become a customer and buy, or they don't purchase, or they're interested in the opportunity. So it's figuring out for you and your business, like, okay, here's my funnel. This is where they go in. If this happens, then I do this. If this happens, then this. So it's having that system of next step, next step, next step. So you're always having that layer process. And so I'm also doing the Miss MK USA. And I was just looking at how many times I talk to the person before I actually send the pamper kit. And it's 4 different times. Like, I reach out to them and I'm like, I'm so excited. You totally deserve this. That's so cool. Here's my pre-profile. Answer these questions. You totally deserve it. So you're like building that suspense of, oh my gosh, this is really great. And then I have another one that says, Perfect. I'm going to text you when I get your pack in the mail. Literally, I send them another message, usually within 10 minutes, because I'm putting it together right then. And then I send them another message that says, I just got your pack put together. I'm going to put it in the mail today. Make sure you text me when it arrives. There's that handwritten note in there that says, text me when this arrives. And I've had 2 Pamper packs show up so far since I've started sending these out. And both women immediately, they took a picture of their pack, sent it to me, and they're like, I'm so excited. So it's like building this kind of this excitement around what you're doing. And then also knowing how many times you should follow up or reach out. So Tammy Bradford did a training on Monday, yesterday, and she said that if you want people to show up to something, you email them twice on the day of the event, a half hour before, and then 5 minutes before. Or no, wait, 5 hours before, and then 5 minutes before. So that's not overkill. You're just staying in front of them, reminding them, hey, I'm super excited, we're gonna do this. And then right before the event, I can't wait to see your face in 5 minutes. So it's not being annoying, it's just being persistent. It's kind of like if you had an appointment for a dentist, they send you a reminder the day before, and then they send you another reminder, usually like an hour before, because they don't want you not to show up, because then they don't fill that spot and they're not gonna get paid for that appointment. So think of yourself as the dentist or the hairstylist. If they don't show up, you don't get paid, right? So you want to make sure that they're on the same page and they're respecting your business and that appointment. So I just wanted to add that. Rachel, thank you so much for all that you added. You're so awesome. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to add? Comments, questions, concerns, excitements? No?
I gotta reach out. I put it on my Facebook and I said, where are my fellow big poured beauties out there? And
Big
so
poured beauties.
Big poured beauties. So if you need a quick, fun reach out, that's what I was texting. So big poured beauties, and yeah.
I love it. Well, here's something that I want to challenge you guys with. First thing, I want you to get together with your director and figure out a system on when you reach out to someone, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? That can be something really simple. I'm sure your director probably has something in place that she uses and then you can utilize. Second thing is I would love for all of us to book 2 appointments in the next 2 days. It can be a leadership training call. It can be a facial. It can be a Facebook party. 2 appointments in the next 2 days, because when we are intentional and we get on it right away, that's when things start happening. And all of us deserve to be stars. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, awesome. Well, we'll see you at 8 o'clock for 5 ways to make your pores smaller. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, 5 ways to shrink your pores.
Shrink your pores. Thank you, Leora. Oh my gosh, Leora, was that one of your children?
Yeah, that was Michael. He wanted to say hi.
So cute.
He's mocking me. Shrink your pores, he says.
That's so
Michael,
cute.
can you say bye to everybody?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Michael.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Awesome. See you at 8, ladies.